Auzubillahiminashaitanirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Yet another beautiful day, and what a good start. There was a little bit of traffic outside on the road, but shukr alhamdulillah, the country's doing good, the people are doing good, everybody's here at their job. If you're watching this at your offices or at your homes, a big assalamu alaikum to all of you, and a very happy good morning. I am Muzzamil Khan, and alongside me, the wonderful Eesha. Assalamu alaikum, Eesha. How are you doing?
Wa alaikum salam, Muzzamil, and a very happy and big Jummah Mubarak to all our viewers.
Jummah Mubarak.
Jummah is a very powerful day, and make sure to spread a lot of smiles because it is sunnat to smile.
And also about the Jummah. It is one of those days which you should always be very careful about. Never miss your Jummah prayers. To everybody, I know Insan galti ka putla. And with this, we are now going to move towards the lineup that we have for you, an exciting lineup over here that we have gotten. But we are going to start with the current situation, jo kal hui thi. You know, what basically happened is that we saw a freak of nature hailstorm here in Islamabad, where we saw crashed windows, we saw cars going bad, and it happened all of a sudden. So climate change, mind you, is very real. And for that, we are now going to give you some updates about the heavy hailstorm. So according to the alert, heavy rainfall with windstorm and thunderstorms is likely at isolated places, and this will continue on. It is by the NDMA said that about today, so Chakwal, Gujarat, Jhelum and Central Punjab, Faisalabad, Hafzabad, Jhang, Khushab, Mianwali, Lahore, Narowal, Saiwal, Sargodha, Shekhupura and other parts near these areas. Also the Potahar Plateau and upwards north, we can also expect some hailstorm as well. Taking into consideration happening which happened a few days ago, we saw this hailstorm crash down on Islamabad, specifically the red zone and also the F sectors around. A lot of damage happened to the loose structures that were present here. So this was about the hailstorm and NDMA's release regarding the hailstorm. And Eesha, now if we talk about things that excite the Pakistani nation, what comes to your mind first and foremost?
It is definitely cricket. You know, we live for cricket. We are very excited about the upcoming PSL matches that are coming forth. Yes, and moving on,
Well, let me just interrupt you right here. We are excited about cricket, and Rawalpindi, Islamabad is the center when you talk about cricket. When you talk about cricket, when you talk about what's happening on the local scape, we see a lot that is happening. People are excited about their stars leading the team, playing in the team, both sides. Well, big names we have seen, and Karachi Kings are to face Quetta Gladiators. When we talk about Lahore Qalandars, Multan Sultans, Karachi, what is one of those teams that comes to your mind?
well, I think that I am with Islamabad United. Being an Islamabadi, I am a true worker, and I will always support Islamabad United.
So you are with Islamabad United, right?
Yes.
All right. So talking about cricket and PCL, I would like to keep it a little bit interactive between us and our viewers on the other side of the screen. You already know where to see us and how to address us. You've got our website, you've got places to write to us. Do not forget to write to us about this cricket frenzy that's going on, and it will continue on into the month of May. And this news regarding PSL will continue on, but right after a short break. Don't go anywhere, stay glued to your screens. We'll be right back in a short while. Stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. That short break, I hope it didn't throw you off balance. So since we were talking about cricket, Eesha, a lot is happening in the world of sports,
exactly.
right?
Pakistan is making its way in the name of sports all around the world. We are so happy to announce that Azlan Ali Khan defeats an Australian rival to claim the championship of the Australian Junior Open. Let's dive into this news. The Australian Junior Open Squash Championship was held on April 13th, 2025 in Melbourne, Australia. The event saw the participation of 64 players from 11 different countries.
Wow.
Pakistan Army's Azlan Ali Khan triumphed in the final, defeating an Australian player 3-0. claiming the victory and the
Well,
championship title.
11 countries, he said?
Yes, 11 different countries.
Congratulations, Aslan. Now, Pakistani sportsmen and young talent. I mean, world over, they are making a great name for the country.
Exactly. Thank you for highlighting our name and making us feel very proud.
All right. So, as you know, that the format of the show is that we line up information, entertainment, and sports-related news. We combine entertainment with knowledge so that we give you the best value for your time here at World This Morning. So, continuing on with the tradition that we are keeping alive here, World Heritage Day. And then we also have an exciting guest that we will indulge in a great conversation about archaeological sites with, and about the World Heritage Day. First of all, World Heritage Day, also known as the International Day for Monuments. Now, this day is known for International Day for Monuments as well because our history is important, knowing our roots is important, and studying the past is also important for creating a better future. International Day for Monuments and Sites is being celebrated today to encourage individuals and local communities to cherish the cultural heritage in addition to the monument preservation. This day also seeks to raise public awareness about the diversity and fragility of cultural assets. How important, Eesha, do you think culture is?
It is, you know, it helps us reconnect with our past, it helps us reconnect with our ancestors, and we get to know about how life was lived for the humans before who came us.
And learning from the past mistakes, learning about how Earth works, and also that climate change is on our hands right now. And you know, we are always being told that it's right around the corner. Knowing if any calamities have befallen on the societies that lived in the prehistoric era or in the recent past that faced such challenges and things. Well, with this, we are now going to welcome our wonderful guest here who is joining us online, and he happens to be an archaeologist. Also, I am a very, very, very avid reader into Egypt and the history of, that's one part of history that interests me a lot. Dr. Mahmood ul Hasan, he is an archaeologist. He is a very, very well recognized name in the field. Assalamu alaikum, sir, and welcome to World This Morning. How are you doing today?
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you very much. In these days, I am working with the cultural heritage site documentation and digital documentation of the cultural heritage sites in Swat area. And we have completed digitization of Buddhist sites in Texla Valley and also Gandhara. So with the help of the Korean Cultural Heritage Agency.
Right. So can you tell our viewers a little bit about archaeology and the field, the work that is being done in this field in Pakistan? Because we have Harappa and we have got Mohenjo-daro and we've got Texila, a lot of archaeological sites present here from a very distant past about societies that have been living here. So kindly tell our viewers a little bit about archaeology and the field of archaeology and the work that is being done here in Pakistan.
Okay. Thank you very much. So history of mankind in Pakistan goes back around 2 million years. It was called the Stone Age, and it lasted for a very long time. And from about 10,000 BC, and the social life was started, and men of this area started cultivation. So we have sites like Mehergarh in Balochistan, and also other sites on the coastal area of Pakistan. And then in 2500 BC, these people developed a highly developed civilization, which is called Indus Valley Civilization, or the Harappan civilization. So we have great center of this civilization in Pakistan, like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. And this civilization was spread over a vast area of about 50,000 square miles or more. And we have so many sites of this civilization in Pakistan. And after decline of this civilization about 1800 BC, we have introduction of Aryan people from the Central Asia, and then in the 6th century BC, we were part of the Persian Empire, and in the 4th century BC, Alexander the Great invaded this area, and after Alexander, we have many other invaders who ruled this area, like Bactrian Greeks, Scythian, Parthian, and then Kushan dynasties, which were basically from the northern China, and they ruled the area for 600 years. And after that, they declined in the 5th century. And then we have Hindu Shahi period, which was lasted up to the 11th century. And then after 11th century, we have the introduction of Islam in this area when Mahmood of Ghazna started invasion in the subcontinent. And then we have many Muslim dynasties. And finally, the great Mughals, and Mughals ruled this area from 16th century to 19th century. And then we had the British rule, and this all different periods of our history have their legacy in the soil of Pakistan in the shape of archaeological sites and historical monuments like Mohenjo-daro, the Buddhist heritage sites of Texla, Gandhara and Swat, and then we have Hindu period monuments in the Salt Range, and then we have monuments of the Mughal period and early Islamic period in Multan and Lahore and Thatta, different parts of Pakistan. So with this background, we have 6 World Heritage Sites in Pakistan, like the Makli Hill Thatta, and then Mohenjo-daro, Shalimar Garden,
Sorry for
Lahore
interrupting you
Fort,
here, sir.
Dogar.
I apologize for interrupting you here, but it's you just mentioned that we have got 6 archaeological sites here in Pakistan, the big ones, the really old ones, right?
Yes.
And when we recover some relics from the past from these societies, of course, the things have corroded over time and they've been underneath dirt for a very long time. And when you dig them out, those old relics, what is the process of restoration? And is there a body here in Pakistan that is established with the responsibility given to them for restoring and putting these items up for the viewers, for the people, historians, people who are excited about history and culture to see in museums and everything? How do you restore these items?
Okay. So in Pakistan, we have different institutions which are responsible for preservation and conservation of our cultural heritage sites. So national level, the Federal Department of Archaeology and Museum is the main responsible agency. Then in all provinces, we have provincial departments of archaeology and museums. So they are looking after the all archaeological sites, including World Heritage sites in Pakistan. So for conservation and preservation of these sites, they have specific staff, and we follow the International Charter for Conservation like Venus Charter and other charters, and also our conservation manual. So these archaeological sites and historical monuments are conserved and upgraded with the passage of time by our responsible agencies in Pakistan. And we also have, for protection of cultural heritage sites, we have law which is called Antiquities Act 1975 at federal level, and all provincial departments also have their own specific acts for conservation and preservation of these archaeological sites.
All right. Dr. Mahmood, I want to ask you that today is the International Day for Monuments and Sites where we preserve our heritage, right? And today's theme actually revolves around preserving these heritages from natural disasters and from climate change, right? So, seeing what happened in Islamabad in the last few days with the hailstorm coming up and climate change coming up, how do you aim on preserving all these special sites for us?
Yes, we have a disaster management plan for all archaeological sites, especially World Heritage sites. Most affected sites are like Mohenjo-daro. It is situated on the bank of River Indus. So every year we have problems during the monsoon period due to floods. So we have constructed spurs along the riverside, and we have the drainage system, and similar systems have been evolved on the other World Heritage sites according to the nature of the sites, like in
I'm very glad to know that we
Rothos Fort.
have a backup plan for preserving our sites. And my next question revolves around something that is very deep to my heart, and that is, as a child, I was always so fascinated by the role of archaeologists, and I actually wanted to get into that field. But growing up, I realized maybe it was an unattainable goal. You know, everyone would snub me when I would say, oh, I want to be an archaeologist. They would say, yeah, but what do you actually want to be? Do you want to be a teacher? Do you want to be a doctor? Think of something realistic. So for all our viewers watching who aspire to go in the field of archaeology, what message do you have to say to them, and what career path would you advise for them to choose?
Well, the broken dreams and sound of them through your words. Bismillah, sir, answer the question, please.
Thank you. So, archaeology is a field for study of human past through the material remains, like whatever left by the bygone civilizations on the soil. So, this material remains are found in the form of archaeological sites, mounds, and historical monuments. So, archaeologists used to excavate these sites systematically to construct the history of that area, of that sites. So there are scientific methods for excavation of these sites, and we excavate these sites according to different methods, and we document all data which is recovered during archaeological excavations, and we study the stratigraphy, which is the layers in the ground which were formed due to the passage of time. So with the help of this all data, we establish history of that region. So for example, before introduction of archaeology in subcontinent, the history of subcontinent was started from the 8th century AD, because before we don't have any written history. But after archaeological investigation and research, our history pushed back from 8th century AD to 2 million years before today. So this is all due to archaeology, like discovery of Indus Valley civilization, discovery of the Buddhist art of Gandhara, and now even Islamic period. So this is the work of archaeology, and it is still continue from the British period, because the Archaeological Survey of India was established in 1861 for the study and research on archaeological sites. So it is the continuity of that department. So after creation of Pakistan, we adopted the same department, and we named it a Department of Archaeology and Museum. So now we have all at provincial level, we also have departments. So they all are working for the archaeological research and development of archaeological sites. And now we have this subject in many universities. So we have the fresh students, graduates from the university. So this is our future.
All right, sir. So when you find an archaeological site and you start to dig into the earth to uncover not only the materials but history and time and how everything unfolded, getting to know the older societies, I read a lot into Egypt and the pyramids, how they were constructed, whether if they were constructed during the time of the pharaohs, as we know, or if they were constructed before and they just happen to inherit those structures. There is a lot of history, but at the same time we get to see a lot of looting and plundering that over the years people do for seeking treasures, maybe seeking gold that was buried and everything. Do we see that in these sites as well here in Pakistan? And if so, what are the measures that are being taken to protect these sites from looters and plunderers?
Yes, it is a very serious issue all over the world. Archaeological sites are plundered in search of antiquities, because these are the sold in the international antique markets. So Pakistan is also suffering from this problem. And for to curb this heinous crime against our cultural heritage site, we have different ways. Like for the legal protection, we have Antiquities Act 1975, and all the provinces have the same act. So that act have provision for to stop this illegal excavation on archaeological sites. And then we have the International Convention of 1970 of UNESCO. So Pakistan is member of that convention. And under that convention, if the cultural heritage material is smuggled outside Pakistan and it is intercepted in other countries, so they return us. So in this connection, we have repatriated artifacts from United States, France, Italy, uh, England, and also Australia. So there is some mechanism, and now we have bilateral agreement with different countries for um, uh, to
One
stop
last
this.
question, sir, because we're short on time here. Just one last question from you. Because I am very interested in discovering the past and uncovering what happened to the generations prior and coming up with conclusions regarding how we should move into the future, what's the best way to plan our present by reading the past. What is that one museum in Pakistan, where is it located, where we have the maximum amount of ancient relics present today, which you would recommend everybody who is an enthusiast about history to visit?
So in Pakistan, there are different museums having the antiquities of the different times. So some museums which are called archaeological site museums. So in Islamabad, we have a small museum which is called Islamabad Museum. So it contains antiquities from of the human past of this area, from Stone Age right down to the British period. And then we have other great museum in Texla. So it has the great collection of the Buddhist art of Gandhara. And then other museums have also their specialties like Lahore Museum, Peshawar Museum, and National Museum of Pakistan, Karachi. So these are the big museums and have the like a show window of Pakistan's cultural heritage. So I recommend that one should visit these museums uh, at least one time, and then he will visit one time, he will go again and again.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for providing us with the details regarding today's day, which is regarding monuments and World Heritage and also sites. It was great having you on the show. As
I think
always,
he's also
a pleasure.
motivated a lot of kids to join the field of archaeology. I know I'm very motivated again.
And of course, Eesha, who wanted to be an archaeologist, but she was told
my
to,
spirits have been revived again.
Well, and as we always mention the importance of the day during our show, today also happens to be the death anniversary of a renowned poet, somebody who has produced a lot of good works in literature. And this death anniversary is important because literature is a very important part of our society, isn't it?
It is. It definitely
is. When we talk about literature, how can we not mention Dr. Jamil Chalabi, who authored over 40 books on criticism, research, and culture? This includes Pakistan, the Identity of Culture, Tanqeed or Tajarba, and Nayi Tanqeed. These were one of his works. Other well-known works written and edited by him include Adab, Culture or Misal, Muhammad Taqi Mir, and other books that he has also written. We are now going to tell you about the date of his birth, which is 1929, and talk about his lifespan where he has produced all of this work. We are remembering this great poet, great philosopher on this day.
On talking about archaeology, a big part of this is, finding precious stones like diamonds and gems. Our next news is about blingy diamonds in the bay. Let's dive into the news. Rare blue diamond shines at 100. Obviously, I'm a girl. I will love diamonds. All right, the rare blue diamond shines at a $100 million exhibition in the bay.
Wow, $100 million.
Rarest blue diamond worth $100 million was on display at the South Bay's exhibition in UAE's capital, Abu Dhabi. Each diamonds on display were over 700 carats, which included the colors red, yellow, pink, and a colorless diamond. However, the focus was on the 10-carat blue diamond from South Africa. It is considered to be one of the world's most important blue diamonds ever discovered. And South Bay expects it to be auctioned at $20 million in May. How fascinating. Muzzamil, are you going to aim to buy this blue diamond for your wife in May?
Well, that is quite something. Well, we've got more stuff lined up for you, but this is time for a really short break. Don't go anywhere. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back in a very short while. Welcome back, and as before we were going on the break, my co-anchor over here, she was talking about $100 million worth of exhibition about a blue diamond, and she was very excited about it, which brings the topic of love to our mind. And when talking about our society, who does not want a society that is full of peace and brotherhood? Now, to develop that discussion about peace and brotherhood, how we should accommodate each other, and the spirit of coexistence that brings peace to our society, peace to our hearts, peace to our minds, and prosperity overall, we have a very esteemed guest who is a regular here at PTV World with us. And we've got Sir Imran Sandhu. He happens to be a religious scholar. Assalamu alaikum, sir. It's great having you here. How are you doing today?
Walaikum salam. How are you, brother?
I am doing absolutely fine, sir. So, we are going to discuss Quran and Sunnah on the bonds of brotherhood today. And talking about this topic, let's start off by addressing the younger generation, people my age and younger than me, before we delve into the discussion any further. People these days are very aggressive, especially the younger generation is these days now very front-footed on every topic. Basically, when you talk to them about things that are sensitive, they tend to argue rather than discuss with certain problems. So when we are talking about the youth, how does one learn through the light of Quran and Sunnah to control aggression, to become a person who is compatible with a wider range of public, and what benefits does it bring to the society overall?
Ahmadu wa nusalli wa nusallimu ala Rasulil Kareem. I'm not feeling well. I've got a sore throat.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, I'll try to be as loud as I can. Please excuse me for that. So, actually, the core of our deen, our mazhab, Islam, is unity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants the ummah of the last prophet, the last ummah,
Right.
to stand united in all its major affairs. We should not be divided through politics. We should not be divided through the conceptual aqidah. We should not be divided through ibadah. All these things, politics, aqidah, ibadat, or siyasat, all these things should work on getting us united. This is the first and the foremost message of Quran. Quran says, "Innamal mu'minuna ikhwatun."
Right.
This is that all the people of Iman, Mu'mineen, are brothers, brothers, and one. And there is another verse of Quran that says, "Wa'tasimu bihablillahi jami'an wa la tafarraqu." That hold on to the rope of Allah with steadfastness, and do not be divided into sects, into factions, into parties. So, and today, not only the younger generation does have a snowball effect of what our previous and this generation is doing. They are becoming divided and divided and divided. For the first 1,000 years, we were just, much united. We were united as an ummah, and we were growing outwards. For the last few hundred years, we are dividing ourselves into nations and millets and constitution and politics and politics. So there are hadith to that effect that you will be 73 firqas. It could be firqas related to aqidah, it could be firqas related to politics. So we are already 52 countries around the world, and for that matter, you see that Muslims are being targeted in Kashmir. Muslims
all over the world, all over the world. We're 54 plus states over here globally, and still we are being treated like we don't have any power. And I think the division between Muslims, that's the major issue. So what, in your view as a scholar, is the biggest fitna that the Muslim community faces today around the world? Something that divides us?
I think we do not have, we should be aware that we should have a platform to get together. Like you could see the European Union, they have created a union, and USSR, they created a union, United States, they are using the words united everywhere. But we are using, We have OIC. OIC
Yeah.
is a very good body, but
It
it
is.
is always doing OIC job. Like, okay, we are seeing this, but they should do some practical work. Look what is happening in Palestine, what is happening in Kashmir.
Atrocious.
You know, the occupation in Kashmir, the army chief very rightly mentioned when he invited, when the Pakistanis were invited from all over the world, like what is occupation in Kashmir. He also talked about occupation in Palestine. So we should be united. The only thing that I should be talking about, or we should be talking about, is the unity. If you say that what is the fitna, fitna is division.
Yes, exactly.
That's the biggest problem
You
that
have highlighted
we're
that very
facing.
beautifully. And sir, I would like to ask you that you being here is a true example of being very selfless, you know, since you are sick, but you're still here to guide us and enlighten us about, you know, the Quran and the Hadith on this special day of Jummah. So today, in today's world, everything has become very transactional, right? I would like to, I'm sorry for using this word, but we have become very matlabi and very self-centered. So how can we become more selfless and be more giving to the people around us? How are we going to ignite these
Because
emotions
Nabi
from
Sallallahu
within
Alaihi Wasallam
us?
was so
Exactly.
caring.
He
We
was-
all have read what happened in Taif, and he still prayed for the betterment of those people and for them to learn. So about being soft-hearted,
Yeah.
about being caring and giving.
Please shed this light on some light.
Yeah,
on
so this is a very important aspect that one could ponder upon, that what is the purpose of our creation.
Yes.
The purpose of our creation is to وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, to do the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So how would we know Allah? We would know Allah through Quran and through the sayings of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yes.
And how would we know Quran, and how would we go and ponder into Quran? By taking education. Like there are two kinds of subjects. One are the worldly subjects or the contemporary sciences, and the other is philosophy, and the third is the spiritual sciences, Quran and Hadith. So if we start taking this education with an intention that we are going to get a job, we are going to get materialistic after having this thought process into our hearts. So what we need to do perhaps is, instead of taking education just for career building, just for personal gains,
Yes.
right from the day one, we should have an intention, innamal a'malu binniyat, that actions are by intentions. We should have an intention to serve humanity. If we are becoming doctor, we are becoming an engineer, we are becoming a philanthropist, whatever we are becoming, whatever do you want. If you want to go into archaeology, do not go for the sake of a job.
Yes.
Job is something that Allah will give you. That is the fruit of the way. But your intention you should have a very tunnel vision focus. How can I serve the humanity?
Yes.
This is going to make you selfless.
Yes, you know, I think all our audience definitely needs to hear
Definitely,
this message, that we
definitely.
don't
That
need to be
was a deep
materialistic,
one.
and we need to believe in the will of Allah, that He will guide us and protect us.
All right, so when we talk about the unity and brotherhood, financial aspect is one very important part of our society, and what binds people together is their interest in the material of this world. Now, Rahbaniyat is one of the concepts that Islam says that should not be practiced. Once you go down that path, you might end up in a place where you don't want to be, actually, first. And about being a participative Muslim in the society, about being a Muslim that is proactive, working for the betterment of the society, what would be your message to the youth, since you mentioned that we should be caring, we should be outwardly while giving towards people, giving towards the society. What would be your message towards the youth in order, if we say talking about practicing business, and how can we include sabr in the concept of business, because every transaction might not go our way, or every business deal might not be as we want it to be. So how can we avoid the material of this world ripping us apart because our financial interests do not align well together? Because I've seen families split, I've seen brothers split, I've seen sons and fathers take separate routes.
Yeah, again, the purpose of the life. You know, if you are focused on the purpose of life, the purpose of life is not to make profits. You know, in economics, when we read economics from Paul S. Emerson, he says the purpose of business is profit, making profit. So, you know, if you take guidance from Paul S. Emerson, you are going to end up fighting with your brother. I mean, so while we want to go, you know, learn economics, while we want to do trade, while we want to do all kind of businesses, but the focus should be on objectivity of life. The objective of life is to support each other. What do we use this money for? Or what do what is this wealth for? For just one person or for whole of the society?
The whole of the society.
So you know, they are making, you know, organizations like Commonwealth, but Islam gives you a teaching that wealth is common.
Wealth is common.
Wealth is common.
Yes.
So you know, if you see somebody, Islam tells about zakat.
All right. So this is unfortunate that we are short on time and we have to conclude this discussion right over here. It is always a pleasure talking to you, and the insight that you give and the way that you find these words, align them with our thoughts and really strike the nail on its head. Jazakallah so much.
So Newton said time is absolute.
Yes.
But then Einstein said time is relative. So yeah, time
it is. Jazakallah, Jazakallah, Sir Subhanallah. Thank you so much for your time. And with this, we are going to take a quick view into something very exciting. Now, we are all, you know, on our toes when we see a sci-fi movie about life outside of this planet, because the big question is, are we alone in this universe or not? And as we've seen on multiple channels all throughout our childhood, people are using telescopes and whatnot to check out space out there, sending radio signals. And should I give them the news?
Yes, please.
All right. So the news is that a telescope finds promising hints of life on a distant planet. The planet is given the name in alphabets and numbers because there are trillions and trillions of them out there. So hard to give them each a name because there are more planets in the universe than words in the vocabulary. That is a fact. Now, scientists have discovered signs on the life of planet outside the solar system. All right. And the team of British and American researchers used NASA's James Webb Space Telescope. That was the news. Eesha, how does this make you feel?
It makes me feel very fascinated and also a little scared about life on other planets on Earth.
What if they don't like us?
What are the other people going to be like? But you know, talking about different planets, we need to focus on our planet and to preserve the quality of life on the planet that we live on. And taking this transition on to our next guest in the studio, who is actually a huge inspiration for me since I am a huge environmentalist myself. She is a postgraduate of Oxford University. She happens to be leading the EOS schools and leading it with a vision to transform the lives of Pakistani and help bring the sustainability initiatives in action. We have Miss Aruj Khaliq in studio with us today. Thank you so much for joining us, Miss Aruj. How are you doing?
All right. And well, coming straight into the topic today, what are some of the important aspects that this society does not take into consideration when we talk about the growth and the progress of the society, especially taking into account our young ones, people who are teenagers, young adults growing up? What are the certain things that we miss when we address these people in concern to the society and how they would become adults that would perform good in a society?
All right, so there are multiple ways you can look at that. It's not possible for me to really synthesize that in a sentence, to be fair, because the challenges that we are facing in this Anthropocene that we exist in, they are magnanimous. But what I can pinpoint is that the biggest disconnect I have seen is that there is a, you can say, disjointed relationship between school versus society. So what's happening in school is not being reflected, what's being reiterated in the settings of classrooms when it comes to environment, morality, economy, society, all of that is not being transposed in the external environment that is beyond school. So I feel that is and I have my reasons to believe that that is one of the key reasons why there is a disjointed relationship between how individuals who are being schooled or being educated, they somehow fail to become useful members of society.
All right. Aruj, you describe yourself as an intervention scientist. What does that term mean and how does it align with sustainability?
Right. So intervention is something that I have been working on since, I don't know, perhaps even when I was a child.
Oh.
So I think this exploratory nature comes through my parents because they take me out in different environments. So moving on, right now I'm at the University of Oxford where I'm specializing in social interventions and policy evaluation. An ECO school, which is actually called Eco Schools, is Pakistan's first nationwide intervention where we're trying to build Pakistan's sustainability acumen. It's being funded by Interloop, but the project has been designed in collaboration with experts at University College London and University of Oxford. So what we're trying to do is that, getting back to your question, intervention means that you see a problem and you come up with a solution, you test it out, and then you scale it at a larger level, right? So when I was doing my MPhil, and I was working on this program called Whole School Approaches to Sustainability, I designed a toolkit for which I was invited at UNESCO, UNESCO headquarters in Paris, and later on when I came back, I started thinking of ways how that work can, go beyond those 200 to 300 teachers and schools that I worked with. So now we have launched a nationwide intervention where we are trying to build Pakistan's sustainability acumen by taking in the first phase 200 school leaders on board. So when we say 200 school leaders, that means 200 schools. And if you multiply that number with this estimated number that each school would have at least 1,000 students, you can do the maths, right?
Taking into consideration what you just mentioned, what is the biggest problem that Pakistan faces in this regard?
The biggest issue would be that there is no mindful integration of sustainability in pedagogy, in curriculum, and within the settings of school. The other issue that I have seen over the past 12 years of my association with academia is that the mechanisms are so colonized that it is inherently believed that you have to belong to a certain elitist culture to be able to strive towards these competencies. If you're, let's say, going to a madrasa school or a public school, these competencies are seen as far-fetched, which is absolutely not true. And so this is the you can say societal dilemma that we're trying to encounter, that this is something that can be embedded in any curricula. We are just giving them the tools and the methods to imply that in their own respective contexts.
Well, taking into account also the World Economic Forum and the policies that they've designed for 2030, their Agenda 2030. How aligned is this mission with that vision?
101% is what I would say.
Wow.
And where are we
so confident.
And where are we at? Like,
all right. So the biggest reason why I wanted to do this work in Pakistan primarily is because currently Pakistan ranks at 137th out of 166 countries globally in terms of our accumulation of UN SDGs. Just to give you a bit of a context, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are key priorities which global governing authorities have consented to meet by the year 2030. Because if we wouldn't meet it, perhaps will be the history will be dinosaurs, right? I mean, the human age that we exist in is called Anthropocene. It is called Anthropocene because human actions in terms of morality, economy, environment, society have long-lasting implications. And United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are those key priorities that can help countries develop mechanisms and systems to drive the entire nation towards achieving these goals. And education has been identified in research, especially in the Western world, as one of the key tools through which these UN SDGs can be acquired.
What is that one most important step that our education ministry should take in this regard? What is that one most important step?
The biggest problem is that we have created silos in terms of educational systems that, oh, this is public school, this is private school, this is madrasa, this is non-formal. What's important is that I completely understand that in the same yardstick cannot be used everywhere, right? So what the educational system can do is think of ways, think of interventions, think of systems, how within their respective context they can build these competencies. For instance, I'll give you an example. Research is a skill. It's one of the UN SDG skills. It's one of the sustainability competencies. And you don't necessarily have to be teaching a high-end curricula or like a Cambridge or any other, Western curricula to be able to inculcate that. That can be taught in remote areas of Pakistan with using the same curricula that we have. It's just that there has to be a need of mindful inculcation of that skill set within the written, taught and assessed curriculum.
Exactly. Actually, I would like to highlight the fact that Pakistan is the 5th most vulnerable country related to the climate crisis and the environmental crisis. So, environmental and climate literacy, it's not a luxury anymore. It needs to be taught as a necessity.
Yeah.
So you are leading this field and you are in this field very prominently. So how is the Pakistani reaction and how are the communities responding to this literacy initiative?
So far, so we launched the pilot of eco schools in January 2025 and we trained 25 school leaders from all across Pakistan that had individuals hailing from all the way from Ghotki to Sibbi to Sakardu to Lahore. So we had a very diverse pool. Right now we have launched a fellowship, which is a 5-month-long free of cost fellowship that is for school leaders from all across Pakistan. And we're doing hybrid sessions for that. Some sessions are going to be in person and some are going to be online. To answer your question so far, we have, you can say, a margin of 200 people that we can train. You'll be surprised that we have over 500 registrations. So we're trying to think of ways how we can expand that. That's also one of the reasons why I wanted to be here and discuss this, because we're open to having more collaborators from different parts of Pakistan. Because it's not possible for one person or one girl, one small town girl to do this, right? It has to be a consortium of experts.
Unfortunately, we are short on time, and this was a wonderful episode with all 3 of our guests, all the way from archaeology to Brotherhood in Islam and now to education intervention. Such a young, powerful person in the studios with us. Thank you for being here. It was great having you. And with this, we come to the end of this episode for World This Morning. Hope to see you next time, same place, same time. Tomorrow morning, inshallah ta'ala, I apologize, not tomorrow morning, Monday morning, I apologize for that fumble. And Shahzad Bhai is hopefully going to be here. I am in his seat, not quite filling his shoes. This is all we have for you for now for today. Do visit our website, world.ptv.com.pk, and also leave your comments on YouTube on our shows. What would you like us to bring to the show next? That is all for now. Thank you and good morning.